Hi guys! So today I'm going to be filming my 2-month postpartum. I'm in the baby's room and she's like right down there with her toot out, so I'll show you her at the end, but she's quite content just playing around on her changing mat now. She was 2 months on the 19th of February, so I'll just go over everything that's happened in the last month. She's 2 months now. She's having about, well, we put 6 ounces in her bottles, but she basically can drink from like anything from like 2 to 6. It really just varies like greatly. She's sleeping through the night now. We put her to bed at 8:30 at night and she sleeps till about 8 o'clock in the morning, which is fab. So we get evenings to ourselves now, which is always really good. She is predominantly bottle fed now. I hardly do any, like if at all I'd do like once a night, but even that sometimes I don't do it anymore, so she's definitely very formula fed. I did try to boost my breast milk again, but it just went so low, and to be honest I kind of got scared that it would hurt again, because it really just, mastitis and cracked nipples and bleeding nipples just really was not my cup of tea. She's still in her 0 to 3 months clothes. They're getting kind of snug on her now, so in the next few weeks I think she'll be out of those. She's found her hands. She's constantly like this to her hands, and she eats them all the time, and she started to grab it, like not go for it, but if you put it near her hand she'll hold it. So that's always good. Her dummy, she's kind of moving off of her dummy, which is good as well, because I don't really want her to have a dummy after 6 months. That's like my goal, after 6 months, try and wean it off of her. She's so fascinated by lights. She's so fascinated by lights. Any kind of lights she'll just watch, and like she's got some fairy lights in there and she's like ooh. So yeah, she's also sleeping in her own room now. This is like her room, so she's in her cot. She's been sleeping in her cot for like nap times for about like a week and a half, and then for like actual night times we've only had her in 2 nights, so it's relatively new, but yeah, she's now sleeping in her cot. We obviously have monitors and everything, so we can hear her, and some people may be like, that's too soon, she's only 2 months, but each to their own. I was put in my own room at 6 weeks. My little sister was only in mum and dad's room for a week before she got moved into hers, so some people sleep in their mum and dad's room until about a year, so it just kind of varies a lot. She's so chatty now, like you can just have like a full-blown conversation with her. She like talks back to you, obviously like babbles, but like she talks back to you, and she just coos, and she's trying to laugh so much, like she does like a little laugh, but it's not like a proper giggle, but you can tell she's trying to laugh. She had a really bad cradle cap for a while. It was just in her eyebrows at first, and I thought it was maybe just dry skin, and I was at my parents' house and they were like, oh, it could be cradle cap, it could just be dry skin. So we got like a moisturiser for her, and it helped a bit for a while, I thought, and then it started to move into her head and like it was covered. So we've just basically been using like baby oil on her head to soften up the little bits and like kind of take them off, and then bath her and wash her hair to get all the horrible bits out. So it is really improved, and I think within the next week it should be like completely gone. She also had her injections at 8 weeks, and they were good. She had her medicine first, the oral one, and the doctor was so amazed by her, because usually babies don't really like it, and they usually have 50% of it because they spit the rest out. But she ate a whole lot and wanted more. She was sucking on the end of the syringe trying to get more out, and the doctor was like, this is the first baby I've had that's like this. And her injections went fab. She obviously screamed. What are you seeing? She obviously screamed when she got them because it's an injection, but like 2 seconds later she was smiling again, and she slept more that day, but she was perfectly fine after. She didn't have a temperature or anything. Now on to me. I stopped my like bleeding from, you know, after childbirth you bleed for quite a few weeks. I stopped my bleeding at around, well, it got very very light at like 3 weeks, like where I didn't really need a pad, it just kind of was there when I wiped, and it kind of disappeared completely when I was about 4 weeks. But then at 5.5, 6 weeks, I had this kind of like gush of blood. Yeah, and it had like a clot in it, like, which isn't unusual for my periods. My periods are always very probably TMI, but quite clotty. but like it lasted for a few days, and I was at my parents' house at this time, so I asked if I could borrow some pads from my sister, and so I had to wear pads again, and it lasted for about 2 days quite heavily, and I thought that was my period, but it wasn't very crampy, but I did get the breakouts, which I usually get from my periods. So I don't know if that was my period or if that was just a one-off kind of bleed. Me and my partner also had sex for the first time since she was born at 8 weeks. I bled after, but that's just not unusual for me. But it was painful. We had tried to do it at like 6 weeks, but it was very, very painful. What are you saying? It was very, very painful at 6 weeks, so we didn't do it then. And we tried 8 weeks, and we did it, but it wasn't the best. But since then, it's been perfectly fine. I've not had postpartum hair fallout yet. I went to my hairdresser's to get like a big chop off at like 5 weeks, and she said about 3 to 6 months, do expect, like, she's had women in who've came in like, oh my god, I'm losing my hair. She says that it can fall out in chunks, which I'm kind of scared of. I've always had thick hair, and obviously it got thicker through pregnancy because it doesn't fall out, and I've had a few loose hairs here and there, but not like big chunks or anything. Nothing really else to say, to be honest with you. I'm starting to feel better in myself. Before I felt really down. I didn't have like depression or anything. I think it was just baby blues, and the midwife said that was perfectly common, but like a lot of people don't even speak out about it, so that's why it doesn't seem like it's the norm, but it usually kind of is. So yes, this is Laura. This is her at 2 months. She's so alert now, and she like totally follows you still, and she's just a lovable baby. Aren't you, babes? Mwah. So yeah, also she's totally holding her own head now. Like, you don't even need to support it. And what else? Is that it? Is that it, baby? I think that's about it. So yeah, thanks for watching. Bye. Say bye, Laura. Say bye. What are you saying?